What if I told you that one of the greatest battles in history wasn't fought on earth, but in the heavens? Imagine a rebellion so bold it shattered the harmony of eternity, led by none other than Lucifer, the brightest and most magnificent of angels. Now, imagine the one who stood against him, Michael, the Archangel. His story isn't just one of victory. It's a saga of unwavering faith, divine justice, and the triumph of humility over pride. This isn't the version you've heard in passing. This is the untold story, the one that unveils the cosmic struggle between light and darkness, a conflict that still echoes in every choice we make today. While the name Lucifer conjures images of rebellion and pride, Michael's role in this drama has been hidden in plain sight. Why hasn't this story been fully told before? What is it about Michael's victory that holds secrets so profound they transcend time? Think about this. What kind of faith does it take to lead an army against the most powerful adversary creation has ever seen? How could one cry, "Who is like God?" become the rallying call that silenced the might of Lucifer? Michael's tale isn't just about an ancient battle. It's a blueprint for overcoming the unseen struggles we face every day. But here's the part no one talks about. What really happened when Lucifer fell? What did it cost Michael? And how does his legacy shape the battles between good and evil we encounter now? This story isn't just history, it's a revelation. And by the end, you might find yourself looking at your own challenges in a completely new light. Imagine a being so radiant, so majestic, that his very presence seemed to reflect the Creator's light. This was Lucifer, a name once synonymous with brilliance and beauty. Yet within the vast expanse of celestial harmony, a seed of dissent began to sprout. It wasn't external forces, but the whispers of pride and ambition in Lucifer's heart that sparked the first rebellion. Isn't it fascinating how even the brightest lights can cast the darkest shadows? Lucifer's rebellion wasn't a sudden coup, but a calculated act of defiance. Picture him weaving persuasive arguments among the angels, questioning the divine order. Why should we serve? Shouldn't we be free, he'd say, planting doubts like seeds in fertile soil. It's not unlike how charismatic leaders today can sway entire groups, challenging traditions or values once held sacred. Have you noticed how one voice can ignite a movement, for better or worse? What fueled this defiance? It wasn't a lack of love from God, but an insatiable hunger for power. He wanted more than his glorious position. He craved sovereignty, a throne that rivaled God's. It's a sobering reminder of human ambition. How often do we overreach, blinded by pride, and forget the purpose of our gifts? Think about historical figures whose desire for dominance led to ruin. Can you draw any parallels to your life or society today? As his defiance grew, so did his following. Angels, beings of immense light and wisdom, fell under his spell. He offered them autonomy, promising a future where they wouldn't be bound by divine laws. Doesn't that sound familiar? People today often get drawn into ideologies or promises that offer freedom but come with hidden costs. Lucifer's seduction was a masterclass in manipulation. The heavens, once harmonious, began to split. The rebellion wasn't just a clash of ideals, it was a fracture in the very fabric of celestial unity. Can you imagine the tension in such a perfect realm? It's not unlike families or communities that divide over conflicting beliefs, with each side convinced they're right. How does one navigate such turmoil? Lucifer's growing rebellion didn't go unnoticed. The loyal angels watched, torn between sorrow and determination, as their once beloved companion turned against their creator. In moments like these, the importance of steadfast leadership becomes clear. Have you ever been in a situation where a strong leader brought clarity amidst confusion? If so, you might understand what was about to unfold. The rebellion wasn't just a personal battle for Lucifer. It became a symbol of what happens when pride overtakes purpose. His transformation was inevitable. The once brilliant angel began to change, his form reflecting the corruption within. It's a striking image, beauty warped by arrogance. How often do we see the same pattern in our world, where inner decay becomes outwardly visible? The heavens prepared for confrontation, but this wasn't a simple battle. It was a war of ideals, loyalty, and the eternal question, who is like God? As the divide deepened, so did the stakes. Every angel had to choose, and their choices would echo through eternity. Have you ever faced a decision where the consequences seemed larger than life? This was that moment, magnified. And yet, even amidst the chaos, there was hope. A figure was rising, ready to lead the charge against this rebellion. Archangel Michael, the steadfast warrior, stood at the forefront, his faith unshaken. What happens next would define the cosmos, setting the stage for a battle that still resonates through history and faith alike. When the rebellion reached its peak, the heavens trembled under the weight of uncertainty. Yet amidst the chaos, one figure stood unshaken, Michael, the Archangel. His very name posed a challenge. Who is like God? A declaration that shattered the rhetoric of Lucifer. Imagine the resolve it takes to step forward when everything you know hangs in the balance. Michael's leadership wasn't about power, it was about unwavering faith and a commitment to divine truth. Michael's presence alone inspired courage. He wasn't just a warrior, he was a shepherd, rallying the angels who wavered in doubt. His cry, "Quis ut Deus," echoed like thunder, cutting through the lies Lucifer had sown. It's a powerful reminder of how one voice, when anchored in truth, can ignite a movement. Think of moments in history where a single leader's conviction turned the tide. Martin Luther King Jr., for example, standing firm in the face of oppression. Leadership isn't always about strategy. Sometimes it's about heart. Michael didn't just lead with commands, he led with conviction. He reminded the angels of their purpose, their creation, and the love of the Creator. Have you ever had someone in your life who brought clarity in your darkest moments? That's the kind of leader Michael was, a guiding light when the heavens seemed shrouded in darkness. Imagine Michael standing at the head of an army of celestial beings, each one reflecting the glory of God. Yet even in their brilliance, doubts lingered. Lucifer's rebellion had planted seeds of confusion. Michael's role was to uproot those seeds, replacing them with faith. It's a lot like being a mentor or coach today, helping others rediscover their potential and realign with their values. Have you ever helped someone in a similar way? What made Michael so extraordinary wasn't just his strength, but his humility. Unlike Lucifer, who sought to exalt himself, Michael's every action pointed back to God. True leadership, after all, isn't about self-glorification, it's about service. Think of leaders like Mother Teresa, who inspired millions not through power, but through selfless acts of love. Michael embodied this principle in every decision he made. The battle wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. Michael's leadership extended beyond tactics and into the realm of belief. He reminded the angels of their connection to God, their Creator. Have you ever noticed how reconnecting with your purpose can bring clarity during a crisis? Michael was that bridge, guiding his army back to the foundation of their faith. His leadership was also deeply personal. He didn't lead from a distance, but stood shoulder to shoulder with his fellow angels. Picture him on the front lines, sword in hand, eyes blazing with resolve. It's the kind of leadership that inspires loyalty, not out of fear, but out of respect and admiration. How often do we see leaders today who inspire this kind of devotion? Michael's cry, "Who is like God?" wasn't just a question, it was a battle cry, a reminder of Lucifer's fundamental flaw, his desire to be equal to God. That cry reverberated through the heavens, shaking even the most hesitant angels into action. It's similar to how a single phrase or mantra can galvanize people today. Think of how slogans like "Yes, we can" have moved nations. Michael's words carried that same transformative power. As the battle loomed, Michael's leadership became the rallying point for those who chose to stand with God. He didn't promise an easy path, he promised the right path. Isn't it interesting how the hardest decisions are often the ones that define us? The angels who followed Michael knew they were choosing a difficult road, but they also knew it was the only one that aligned with their purpose. What's fascinating is how Michael's leadership resonates even now. Across faiths, he symbolizes courage, justice, and unwavering faith. His story isn't just about a battle in the heavens, it's a timeless lesson in what it means to lead with integrity. Have you ever wondered what kind of leader you would be in a moment of crisis? Michael's example challenges us to reflect on that. And so, as the armies prepared for the ultimate confrontation, Michael stood resolute. His leadership wasn't just about winning a battle. It was about restoring order, faith, and truth. But the battle was far from over. Ahead lay a confrontation that would test the very limits of loyalty, faith, and strength. What would it take to triumph over a rebellion of this magnitude? Faith is a force unlike any other, and for Michael, it was his greatest weapon. While Lucifer relied on persuasion and manipulation, Michael's strength came from his unwavering trust in God's plan. Faith doesn't require all the answers. It requires a willingness to move forward despite the unknown. Have you ever taken a leap of faith in your life, trusting that the path ahead would reveal itself in time? Michael's faith wasn't just personal, it was contagious. In the face of Lucifer's compelling rhetoric, many angels felt torn, unsure of where to stand. But Michael's confidence in the Creator served as a beacon. Picture a lighthouse piercing through a stormy sea, guiding lost ships safely to shore. That's what Michael's faith was for those who hesitated, a steady light in the chaos. Faith has a way of bringing clarity, even in the midst of turmoil. Lucifer's rebellion sought to blur the lines between right and wrong, but Michael's faith drew those lines sharply. He reminded the angels that their strength didn't come from independence, but from their connection to the Creator. Think of moments in your life when you felt lost, and how reconnecting with your values or beliefs brought you back on track. Michael offered that same reassurance. Practical faith is a concept often overlooked, but Michael exemplified it. His belief in God wasn't passive, it was active. He stepped forward, wielding his sword not just as a weapon, but as an extension of his trust in divine justice. How can we apply this? By taking actionable steps toward what we believe in. If you trust in a goal, what's stopping you from acting on it today? One of the most striking aspects of Michael's faith was its humility. He didn't rely on his own power, but on God's. This is a reminder for us that faith isn't about self-reliance. It's about surrendering to something greater. Have you ever faced a situation where you had to let go of control and trust that things would work out? That's the kind of faith Michael lived out in the face of rebellion. Faith is also deeply personal, yet it has a ripple effect. Michael's conviction strengthened not only himself, but everyone around him. It's like how one person's courage can inspire an entire group to stand up for what's right. Think about the leaders or mentors in your life whose faith in a cause or mission made you believe it was possible too. That's the legacy of Michael's faith. Even in the darkest moments, Michael's faith didn't waver. Imagine standing before an adversary like Lucifer, who once shone as brightly as you. The temptation to question, to doubt, must have been immense. But Michael stood firm, his faith unshaken. It's a lesson for us in resilience. How often do we let doubt creep in when challenges arise? Faith, at its core, is about trust. Michael trusted that God's plan would prevail, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. It's like a parent guiding a child through a difficult moment. The child may not understand the reasoning, but they trust the parent's wisdom. That's the kind of trust Michael displayed, and it's the kind of trust we can cultivate in our own lives. Michael's faith also served as a shield against fear. While fear paralyzed some angels, Michael's trust in God freed him to act boldly. Fear often holds us back, doesn't it? But when we anchor ourselves in faith, fear loses its power. Think of a time when your belief in something greater helped you push through fear. That's the essence of what Michael demonstrated. Through faith, Michael showed that true strength comes from within, but it's nurtured by a connection to the divine. His belief wasn't blind, it was rooted in experience, in knowing the Creator's character. Faith isn't about ignoring reality, it's about seeing beyond it. Have you ever experienced a moment where your faith helped you perceive possibilities others couldn't see? That's the power Michael harnessed. As the battle loomed closer, Michael's faith illuminated the path for his followers. He didn't just fight for God, he fought for the angels who had forgotten their own faith. But the question remained, would faith alone be enough to overcome Lucifer's cunning and power? The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the very limits of trust, courage, and belief. Lucifer's transformation was as much a physical manifestation as it was a spiritual one. Once the most dazzling of angels, his rebellion began to corrupt him from the inside out. Imagine a pristine mirror slowly tarnishing until it reflects only shadows. His outward beauty started to fade, symbolizing the decay of his once pure heart. It's a stark reminder of how inner pride and moral decline eventually show themselves, even to the outside world. Rebellion changes us, and Lucifer's change was profound. His once glorious form became twisted, reflecting the darkness within. It's not unlike how humans, consumed by greed or hatred, begin to lose the light in their eyes, the warmth in their presence. Have you ever seen someone transformed, not by time, but by choices that led them away from their true selves? Lucifer's story mirrors this tragic truth. What's most striking is how gradual his transformation was. It didn't happen overnight. It was a series of choices, each one pulling him further from the Creator. Isn't that how life works? Rarely do we fall in an instant. It's the small compromises, the little lies, that lead to a complete shift. Lucifer's descent reminds us to guard against those seemingly minor decisions that can reshape our character. Even his voice changed. Where once he spoke words that uplifted, he now sowed discord and doubt. Imagine hearing a melody you once loved turned into a dissonant, jarring tune. That's what Lucifer's words became. A distortion of the truth, aimed at pulling others into his rebellion. It's a lesson in the power of speech. What we say can either build up or destroy. Are your words bringing light or casting shadows? The angels who once admired Lucifer began to see his true form. The beauty they revered was replaced by something grotesque, not just in appearance, but in spirit. Have you ever witnessed someone fall from grace, their actions revealing a side of them you never thought possible? That's what happened as Lucifer's rebellion progressed. His followers started to see the consequences of aligning with his vision. Lucifer's transformation also serves as a warning. Pride and ambition, when unchecked, can lead us down paths we never intended to take. It's easy to think, that could never happen to me. But how often do small indulgences in pride or jealousy grow into larger, destructive habits? Lucifer's story asks us to reflect on where we might be allowing these seeds to grow in our own lives. What's fascinating is that even in his fallen state, Lucifer retained a twisted version of his original brilliance, his cunning, his ability to persuade. These traits didn't disappear, they were repurposed for destruction. It's a chilling thought. Gifts given by God can be used for evil when they are detached from their purpose. What gifts in your life are you using to serve others, and which ones might need realignment? The shift in Lucifer wasn't just personal, it impacted the heavens themselves. His rebellion introduced chaos into a place of perfect order. It's like throwing a single stone into a still pond and watching the ripples spread. Have you ever experienced a moment where one person's choices disrupted an entire group or community? That's the kind of upheaval Lucifer's transformation caused. Lucifer's new form became a reflection of his choices, his wings, once radiant, now seemed to carry the weight of his rebellion. It's a haunting image, isn't it? A reminder that the consequences of our actions are often etched into us, whether visibly or in ways only we can feel. Have you ever carried the weight of a choice that changed how you saw yourself? Despite his transformation, Lucifer still believed he could win. His pride blinded him to the reality of his situation. He saw his new form as power, not corruption. This delusion is all too common, isn't it? How often do we convince ourselves that our flaws or mistakes are strengths, rather than confronting and correcting them? Lucifer's story invites us to examine where we might be doing the same. And so, as Lucifer's transformation reached its peak, the stage was set for the ultimate confrontation. His fall wasn't just a personal tragedy, it was a cosmic warning. The question lingered: could someone so far gone ever find redemption, or was his fate sealed? As the heavens prepared for the battle ahead, the answer seemed both inevitable and uncertain. The heavens erupted with a clash that no mortal could ever fathom. Michael, leading the army of loyal angels, stood at the forefront, his sword blazing with divine light. Against him rose Lucifer, his once beautiful form now twisted into a symbol of defiance and corruption. It wasn't just a battle of strength, it was a battle of ideals, loyalty, and the very nature of good versus evil. Can you imagine the intensity of such a moment? The confrontation wasn't chaotic, it was purposeful. Every movement, every clash of celestial weapons carried weight. Michael's army fought not out of hatred, but out of love for the Creator and the order he established. Think of how firefighters run toward danger, not for destruction, but to save and protect. That's the heart of Michael's leadership in this battle. Lucifer, on the other hand, fought with rage and desperation. His rebellion had reached its zenith, and now he was faced with the consequences of his pride. He wielded his cunning and strength with a ferocity that matched his ambition. Have you ever encountered someone so consumed by their own narrative that they can't see the truth? That was Lucifer in this moment, blind to the futility of his fight. The heavens themselves seemed to respond to the clash. Thunder rolled, light blazed, and the stars seemed to tremble as Michael and Lucifer faced off. This wasn't just a physical battle, it was a cosmic reckoning. Imagine the weight of knowing that the outcome of this conflict would echo for eternity. It's a reminder of how some moments in life carry consequences far beyond the immediate. Michael's resolve never wavered. His cry, "Who is like God?" wasn't just a battle cry, it was a declaration of truth that shattered Lucifer's arguments. Each time he struck, it was as if he were cutting through the lies that had ensnared the rebellious angels. Have you ever experienced a moment where truth felt like a weapon, breaking through confusion and deception? That's the power Michael wielded. The loyal angels fought with a unity that Lucifer's army lacked. Their faith in the Creator bound them together, giving them strength that far exceeded their individual abilities. It's like a team working together seamlessly, where the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. Think of moments in your life where collaboration and shared purpose brought victory over challenges. Lucifer's forces, though formidable, began to falter. The weight of their rebellion, the lack of true purpose, began to take its toll. One by one, his followers realized the futility of their fight, but it was too late to turn back. Isn't it tragic how some choices once made can lead to a point of no return? Lucifer's army learned this lesson in the most devastating way. The turning point came when Michael and Lucifer faced each other directly. Their clash wasn't just a meeting of power, it was a meeting of two opposing spirits. Michael's faith against Lucifer's pride, light against darkness. Imagine standing in the presence of such a confrontation, where every blow carried the weight of eternal significance. It's the kind of moment that defines history, even celestial history. With a final, decisive strike, Michael overcame Lucifer. The rebellious angels were cast down from the heavens, their fall marking the end of the celestial conflict. Picture a storm breaking and sunlight pouring through, a moment of clarity and peace after overwhelming chaos. But this victory came with a somber truth. Not all could be redeemed. The battle's climax was both an end and a beginning. Michael's triumph restored order to the heavens, but it also set the stage for the ongoing conflict between good and evil in the world below. Have you ever noticed how even the greatest victories come with new challenges? The expulsion of Lucifer was just the first chapter in a much larger story. As the dust settled, the heavens returned to their harmony, but the scars of the battle remained. Michael's role as a leader was solidified, and Lucifer's fall became a cautionary tale for all creation. Yet, the question lingered. How would the rebellion's echoes shape the world to come? What lessons would humanity draw from this celestial conflict? Long after the celestial battle, Michael's legacy continues to shine brightly, transcending time, cultures, and even religious boundaries. As the Archangel who expelled Lucifer, his story isn't just a tale of divine justice. It's a symbol of resilience, faith, and unwavering loyalty to God. Imagine a figure so steadfast that his very name became synonymous with righteousness. That's Michael, a beacon of hope in the face of darkness. Michael's name, meaning "who is like God," is more than a question. It's a challenge and a reminder. It confronts pride and arrogance, forcing us to reflect on our own limitations. Think about it. How often do we forget our place, striving for control in areas where we should trust in something greater? Michael's legacy encourages humility and reverence, even in the modern world. His role as the leader of heavenly armies is a testament to his courage and faith. Michael didn't just fight battles. He represented the ultimate protector, standing against forces that threatened divine order. Today, he is often invoked as a guardian in times of crisis. Think of the prayers whispered during moments of fear. "Saint Michael, defend us in battle." His presence is still felt in these words. Michael's legacy extends beyond Christianity. In Judaism, he is seen as the protector of Israel, while in Islam, he is revered as a messenger of mercy. This universality highlights something extraordinary. Michael's role isn't confined to a single faith. It's a universal call to stand for what is good and just. It's rare to find figures that bridge so many beliefs, isn't it? In art, Michael is often depicted standing over a defeated Lucifer, sword in hand, embodying the triumph of good over evil. These images aren't just historical relics. They're powerful symbols that resonate with people seeking justice and redemption. Imagine standing before such an artwork, feeling the weight of Michael's victory and the hope it inspires. It's no wonder he remains a subject of fascination. His legacy isn't just about battles. It's about service. Michael reminds us that true strength lies in serving a cause greater than ourselves. Think about the leaders and heroes you admire. What do they have in common? Like Michael, they dedicate themselves to protecting and uplifting others, often at great personal cost. That's the heart of his enduring appeal. Michael's story also reminds us that even in victory, there is humility. Unlike Lucifer, who sought glory for himself, Michael always pointed back to God. His actions were never about personal gain, but about fulfilling his divine purpose. It's a profound lesson for all of us. Success isn't about who gets the credit. It's about staying true to your mission. In a world filled with uncertainty and challenges, Michael's legacy offers guidance. His unwavering faith and commitment to righteousness show us how to stand firm when faced with adversity. Have you ever faced a situation where you felt overwhelmed, unsure of what to do? Michael's story reminds us that courage comes from faith and a clear sense of purpose. Michael's influence can even be seen in modern pop culture, where he is often portrayed as a protector or warrior. These representations, though fictionalized, reflect our enduring need for figures who embody justice and integrity. Isn't it interesting how stories rooted in ancient faith still resonate in our contemporary lives? For those who seek spiritual guidance, Michael serves as a powerful intercessor. Many believe that calling upon him in prayer brings protection and strength. Whether or not you've experienced this personally, it's inspiring to think of the comfort and hope he brings to millions. Have you ever tried turning to a figure like Michael during times of fear or uncertainty? As Michael's legacy continues to inspire, the question remains, how can we embody his virtues in our own lives? His story challenges us to stand for what is right, even when it's difficult, and to lead with humility and faith. But his work isn't finished. The echoes of his battle remind us that the struggle between good and evil persists, and the choice to follow the light is one we make every day. Michael's story isn't just a tale of celestial conflict, it's a guide for our lives. His unwavering faith, his courage to stand firm against overwhelming odds, and his humility in serving a purpose greater than himself are lessons we can all apply. What battles are you fighting right now? Whether it's fear, doubt, or challenges that seem insurmountable, Michael's example reminds us that victory comes not from power, but from faith, integrity, and trust in a higher purpose. But let me ask you something. Are you ready to take the lessons of Michael's journey and apply them to your own life? What would it look like to confront your own Lucifer? Those forces of pride, fear, or temptation that pull you away from what truly matters? And what would change if you chose, like Michael, to anchor yourself in humility and unwavering belief? The battle between good and evil didn't end with Michael's victory. It continues in our choices every day. The question is, which side will you stand on? Are you ready to fight for your purpose, to rally your faith, and to lead with courage, even when the odds seem stacked against you? If you found value in this story, don't let it end here. Join our community by subscribing to this channel and activating notifications so you never miss a chance to deepen your understanding of these powerful lessons. Share this journey with others, because the more we stand together, the stronger we become in the battles we all face.